get out the paperwork.
Yeah. Let me crack this thing for it. There we go.
That's the official start of the episode. Cracking a cold with the boys.
Shotgun start. Oh, man. So, very special guest with us via the interwebs. Tristan Tritt. Son of Travis, musician extraordinaire. Thanks so much for joining us from old Nashville.
Man, I'm happy to be here. Happy to be a part of this.
Yeah. So you heard the episode from it was about a month or so ago, where we uncovered a lot about your father, but then apparently he. For listeners that maybe missed that episode, it was a country music 90s episode, and we spent a significant amount of time, ironically, on a song that was not released in the 90s at all. It was, but it was recorded in the 90s, I think, but I think it dropped in 2000.
Yeah, 2000.
Yeah.
It feels like a quintessential 90s country song anyway, so it fits the bill there. But we discovered through that song that he just laid it out in front of us. We feel like that he is a werewolf. Your father, Travis Tritt.
Yeah.
And your family, the whole family, is so. I think you may have been like the first one that found it, and then your sister, and then we got your dad's Instagram account, which I can't imagine that he runs.
He does. He actually does.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh wow,
that's awesome.
So he has seen the video, the evidence laid out before us.
I'll let him know we're sorry.
That's incredible.
What was his reaction to it? Were you with him when he saw it?
Yeah, I was. I showed it to him, and he started breaking out in a cold sweat, and he just got up and left. He's like, "I gotta leave real quick," and I didn't know what the hell that was about. Or, I was like, that was kind of strange. But funny enough, after that episode, I kind of like took a long look in the mirror, and I was like, "Oh God, is this genetic?" And then I looked, and there's a werewolf tattoo on my arm.
Oh, okay.
Inadvertent to me, yeah, that was completely by happenstance, so I guess it is genetic.
You don't remember that?
No, I think I just blacked out, and it just appeared on my arm in 2019.
Yeah, woke up naked in a field with the tattoo on.
Yep.
To be fair, that's how some tattoos get there.
That's my Saturday night. That's my Saturday night.
Yep. I'm pretty sure that's where 2 or 3 of these came from.
Yeah, I didn't wake up in the field, but I woke up in the bed of a truck.
Yeah.
There you go. So that song, "Great Day to Be Alive," classic song, is that? Do you know if the werewolf references in there? Is that intentional? What is that?
I don't know, because I hate to break hearts. I think a guy by the name of Daryl Scott wrote that song back in the late to mid 90s, and then Dad actually cut it. It wasn't that big of a song to begin with, and then it became obviously a huge song in the 2000s, but Daryl might have been the actual werewolf, and he was, trying to get it out there, and then it just so happened that, Dad kind of had the same affliction.
Yeah.
I like to think that there's a community of werewolves, and that's how he came about getting the song.
I mean, if you spend any time in Nashville, that's very apparent.
Very, very true.
It was made very obvious to us that Daryl Scott wrote the song, and we're like, "Look, just let us run with it."
A lot of people told us, yes, Daryl Scott wrote the song.
Yeah,
and we ignored them.
For obvious reasons. Right.
He may have wrote the song, but it's Travis's.
Yeah, exactly.
All day.
Travis sang it.
Exactly.
Oh man. So you've got a great music career. You just had a single that dropped this month in June.
Yeah, last week.
Yeah, and we were listening to that earlier, and that sounds fantastic. But your music, it sounds great, but it definitely does not sound like your dad's music. It's got this more modern. There's some country elements to it, but it's also feels more rock than it does country. But it can, some of those songs you've done in the past, they kind of, it leans a little heavier one way than the other.
Yeah.
Who would you say that your musical influences were growing up?
Definitely a lot of the same influences my dad had, just because of what he exposed me to as a kid, and a lot of it was, Leonard Skinner and Marshall Tucker Band, even Waylon Jennings, and obviously the greats. But towards adolescence, about the age of 10 or 11, when you start finding your own music sound, you start really getting into it, building your identity. Black Sabbath, Motorhead, and rock, like old school rock, really got my attention. And I just love loud guitars and, live drums and all that, aggressiveness to it. But in recent years, and I've had the fortune of hanging out with them quite a bit, Co Wetzel and his sound and all these dudes from Texas has really, I think they found the perfect blend of mixing in that country sound and still having rock elements. Like, if you've seen any of those guys' shows, even the Red Clay Strays, it's very rock based. So as of recent, my last two singles have been a little bit more down the country lane, but there's still obviously the aggressiveness and sort of the melancholy in the lyrics and stuff like that rock has always been known for.
Yeah. I could kind of sense some grungy Texas in that music, especially in your later music.
Absolutely. Have you guys ever heard of an artist named Austin Meade by chance?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's fantastic. I got to play some shows with him a couple months back, and to be honest, I was so inspired after not only hanging out with him, but just seeing his shows, and I was like, oh, you can blend this in the right way, because I'm born and raised in the South, so at first, when I started doing music around 2020, I started coming out to Nashville from Georgia, where I'm originally from, and I was working with some people, and I really had no identity yet. I didn't know who I was, what I wanted to do, other than the fact I just wanted to do music. And at first, they were like, well, you got to go down this alternative rock scene, you got to do all this stuff, you got to paint your fingernails, you got to do all this stuff that normally, I just don't do. And I felt like I was just pretending to be someone else. So in the last year and a half or so since that song Sick of It dropped last year, and then now these new releases, it's been a lot more of a comforting feeling to just kind of blend in the stuff that I want to, as opposed to appeasing to people who are trying to get me to go one way or the other,
When did you realize that you wanted to get into music? And then was your dad ever like, no, you don't want any part of this? Do something else, please.
I've always wanted to do something. I worked in music since I graduated high school. So literally since the day I graduated, I was on a bus working as a production assistant for my dad for 2 years. Did that, had a blast doing it, but it was I thought I was going to basically go into an administrative role or learn how to tour manage or something like that. And I went from there, went to a audio engineering school in Arizona, and I like to say I'm an engineer. I'm not. But it sounds cool. But I went out.
You didn't have to clarify. You could have said that right now, and I wouldn't have questioned it at all.
But I went out there for 9 months, did the trade, and then ended up working for a manager who's managed guys like Korn, Linkin Park, Dirty Heads, all that stuff, and moved out to California for a couple months. Around that time, that was right at the end of 2019. COVID happened, all that stuff. I moved back to Georgia. Thank God we didn't shut down completely and there were bars open. So I was like, well, okay, well, I've always kind of in the back of my mind wanted to do music, but I've got this stage fright problem that I don't know if you know with live music, that's kind of an issue if you can't get up there to begin with.
Yeah,
makes sense.
So I was like, okay, I got to get this out of the way. So I just started doing open mics. And from then on, I just got a guitar player, got a drummer, got a bassist, and just it grew from there.
Man, that's awesome.
Do you feel like your music engineering, audio engineering, do you produce your own music?
Absolutely not. I'm terrible at it.
Good man. Good man.
It's I can speak the lingo kind of, just so I'm not talking in sounds where I'm I want that drum to have more, you know what I mean? I can say the technical terms to a degree, but no, it's one of those. I realized when I was in school for it, it's like a second language. If you don't use it, you lose it. And these people are so proficient in it. And if you see someone who really knows what they're doing, even with your podcast setup, someone who's proficient with audio equipment or how to run the systems, it's like a second nature to them. They have to spend so much time on that. And I just knew straight out the gate, I'm not built to hear songs over and over and over again, just one piece, 1,000 times to get it right.
I think it'd drive you crazy a little bit.
Oh, it's got to. It's got to.
We have a Joey.
Joey knows everything.
Oh, okay.
I don't question him. He said he was an engineer too.
Well, God bless you, Joey. God bless you.
Listen, you say anything with enough confidence around us, we'll believe it.
That's all it takes.
Yes.
That's my entire family. It's just saying dumb things with confidence.
Yeah.
I feel like an extension already.
Your sister has some albums out too. She's got a great voice. Does your mom sing too? Is this a whole musical family? And if not, why have y'all not gone on the road together?
My mom is
full Partridge family.
I love her to death. She can't hold a tune in a bucket, but she's always been very supportive in that vein. But I told in the beginning when we first started doing shows, me and my sister did a couple together, and I was like, dude, I love you to death. I was like, first off, it feels a little Osmondy, like
Yeah.
I'm like, it's kind of corny, you know. I would love to hop on stage and do a song or two with my dad, but like doing the family tours and stuff, it's just never been my style.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and y'all have two different sounds too. You and your sister. It's both great, but it's just kind of two different worlds a little bit there.
Absolutely. And we're all control freaks too, so that's not a good combo.
No.
Definitely not.
That's the trick here is nobody wants to control anything here. It just kind of
I love that.
Yeah.
On and off.
Yeah. But so you grew up smack dab in the music industry, but was there anything that you kind of learned once you went out on your own? You know, after COVID, you're out there playing some shows on your own, and you're like, oh wow, nobody told me about this. Was there any hard lessons you had to learn?
People had this misconceived idea that basically I got in and it was like, okay, like immediately record deals and all that stuff. And basically, as soon as I announced or I told my dad, hey, this is what I want to do, he was like, hey, good, that's awesome. And that was about the end of the conversation. Because I had to go buy my own gear. I had to figure out how to set it up. I had to just start playing. There was no help at all. Nothing. Zero. And I'm thankful for that. But, you know, as time went on, you start having issues with band members. People, you know, quit, you fire them, whatever happens. Or with management or PR, which I've had all those issues in the past. I had a conversation with him one time, and it was probably the best advice he ever gave me. It was very vague, but it was good. And he just goes, you need to learn how to carry a briefcase in one hand and a guitar case in the other and know how to use them both well. And I was like, okay. Like, you can't have this, and you see it a lot in Nashville where you meet a lot of these artists that are super, super talented, but they're like, I don't want to get involved with the business side at all. And it's like, okay, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot, because in any industry, more particularly in show business, if you leave yourself open to that, the predators are going to come in. They're gonna find a way to, you know, take advantage of you if you're not paying attention. So it was always drilled into my head to first off learn from my mistakes, and then just have more of a business sense that no one else in this field is going to care about your career more than you.
Yeah.
And that's just something else you have in your arsenal as well. I mean, that can't hurt.
No, not at all.
What doing some of these venues and stuff? I'm sure you've seen some wild things. What's probably like? What's the craziest thing that like caught you off guard? Like the most country thing that you've seen playing a show somewhere out in the country?
Man, I've seen all different walks of life, different types of people, but there's definitely, you know, the occasional show where someone throws out their bra or something weird like that happens. I'm not gonna go into detail, but there was one bar we played at that they had a rather large appendage that was behind the bar, and I asked what the reason that was for, and they said when bar fights happen, they would throw it, and apparently if you get smacked in the face by one of those, you stop fighting. I'm like, that's a pretty good tactic.
Yeah.
That would work.
That's
Fair enough.
the logic sounds perfect there.
It does, yeah. I like it.
That's a very similar tactic to what I would do to make my dogs like stop fighting. I mean, I wouldn't throw that at them, but, you know, you just do something to get their attention. But I never thought about that.
This is why you don't want people knowing where you live.
Yeah. Yeah, I was about to ask a question.
To find
large appendages on the porch.
Oh. Does anybody ever like come to a show where they meet you and they're like, wait a minute, Tristan Tritt, are you related to Travis? And then you just say, no, I am not. I don't know the guy.
I said, no, I'm actually Billy Ray Cyrus's kid.
Very nice.
When all else fails.
Somebody's believed you before when you told them that.
Oh yeah. Like I said, it's saying dumb things with confidence. They'll believe you.
Yeah, very true. You've seen this podcast, I guess, then.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
That's how I've made it through life.
Yeah.
Dumb things with confidence. Sometimes
Absolutely.
not confidence.
We may have to change the name.
What's before you go on a show, I'm just curious. Like, what's a pre-show ritual for you? Is some kind of I don't know. Some people eat something, or I don't know what people do. I would eat.
I
would
really
drink a lot probably before I had to get on stage and sing.
See, I had to stop doing that because, you know, I start singing in cursive way too early into the show, and it becomes an issue.
That'll get you.
It'll get you. But no, I really just try to, get out of my own head and just think positively before. It's really cliche, but you just try to stay out of a negative headspace, tell yourself this is going to go great, and just psych yourself up before you go on. So at least like that first moment, which you've seen, all y'all have seen plenty of concerts, that first moment an artist walks on stage, like whatever they're giving off to you, you're going to give it back. So if you're psyched and you're positive and you're, excited and they can feel you actually want to be there, then they're gonna reciprocate that and hopefully do it for the rest of the show. And that's all I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to make sure they know I'm just excited as they are, even if they don't even know who I am. I'm thankful to be there. So that's just all I try to prepare myself to, do before I go on stage.
Yeah. Do you kind of isolate yourself, or do you try to hang out with your band? Do y'all psych each other up?
It all depends. For the most part, me and my guys are normally just cutting up and hanging out, drinking a couple beers and all that. But like 2-3 minutes before the show starts, I do need a little bit of isolation just so I can not be distracted.
It's like that quiet drive to work you need before you have to actually do your job.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Or like when you almost get into a car wreck and you turn off the radio and you just drive in silence for a while. And you think,
Yeah.
Man, I have been there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. He's all now. I'm like, oh, I about rear ended a state trooper.
Yeah.
Yeah. That could have
Maybe
been
them red
bad.
lights were actually green. World may never know.
So what you got going? You got that single that just dropped last week. What else you got down the pipeline that you can share with everybody?
We just did some Florida shows about a week and a half ago, which were fantastic. Central Florida, where my mom's family's from and stuff. So I haven't been over there in over 2 years to that kind of area, which is where I really got started playing. Like those were the first paid gigs I ever did, was in like the Ocala area near Orlando and all that stuff. So I did some shows over there, and now it's just kind of these one-off festival dates. We're doing something in Indiana on Saturday, Geneva, Indiana, which I'm super excited about. And basically for the rest of the year, it's just kind of spots picking up over here, halls over here. And I can't say anything right now, but there's like announcements for like opening slots for larger artists, which I'm super excited for.
Awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
So you've been playing some up north, and Indiana loves country music. And we're big on Southern culture and stuff on this podcast. Do you notice a difference at all when you play like a smaller, like honky tonk type venue in the South versus a bar or something up north? Is their vibes
Absolutely.
the same, or is there little things that you notice?
There's little things. Obviously, I'm born and raised in Northwest Georgia, so yes ma'am, no sir, that's burned in my brain. I can't have a sentence, typically if I'm talking to someone face to face where that doesn't come out, but that's not as apparent with the northern states. But they also, from what I could tell, like with Indiana, parts of Pennsylvania and stuff like that, and even Ohio, they love when you throw in like the more rock stuff in it too. That's just what I've seen from my end. A lot of venues are different, but they like a little bit more of that rock stuff than some of the southern parts. Some of the places down here in the southeast, they really want to hear like the honky tonk and more swing western style, which I totally get. But it's cool to see the difference with that.
So you will switch up your set list based on kind of where you're at.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I'll try and gauge it out, and like I have specific songs like if it's a longer set, then you do a couple more covers, but for the most part, we run off the originals, but based off of where I'm at, I'll either throw in more of the rock covers of something, like people like a Three Doors Down, or even something heavier like a Seether, and in other spots, I could do something like a Co Wetzel song or an old Hank Jr. song. It just depends. You want to give them something they enjoy too, but you gotta really read that room, because if you don't do it correctly and you give them something they don't like, you can completely kill the vibe of everything.
So you're on the fly. You just got like, where this is this part where we're going to do a cover, and we'll get the feel for it, or do you ahead of time?
It depends. A lot of the times, I mean, the last probably 15 shows we've done, I'll have a set list. I always have one, but I'll just call it out to my guys on the fly, just based off of what you can read the crowd pretty easily and see what they're vibing to. It's like, okay, well, if they like this song, chances are they're probably going to like this next one. Yeah. So instead of, you don't take a hard left if you're going, right the whole time. Like you want to keep it cohesive.
Yeah.
So when you're doing rehearsals and stuff, you want to keep certain songs queued up and like, we got to stay topped on this one just in case we got to pull it out of the bag.
Absolutely. Because I noticed that too with opening for larger acts. Like you're you're unknown for the most part, and your set time is between 20 and 30 minutes. That's not a whole lot of time. That's like 6-7 songs at the most. You just got to make the most of it. And obviously, if they don't know who you are and you're doing originals, it's great that you're exposing them to those, but there's almost zero chance of them singing along if they've never heard of you.
Yeah.
So you want to be able to throw in something that actually gives them a sense of familiarity, and you best believe you better do it right. Otherwise, it's going to leave a bad taste in their mouth.
And as an opener, it's your job to hype up the crowd for the main act. So if you fall off a little bit, you're like, dang, I'm killing the vibe for these guys that brought me out on tour with them.
Exactly, and that's the last thing you want to do is upset the headliners. It's a bad way to start.
What's your favorite cover to do that usually just crushes it regardless of audience?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, I'm a huge sucker for dad rock and divorced dad rock, so doing Kryptonite is one of my favorites.
I bet you crushed that. I was listening to your stuff. We were talking earlier about how you've got this that Puddle of Mud stained all that whole genre. Grungy. You've got that infused with your music, and man, I bet that's good.
Yeah, that's I love stuff like that. But my favorite, and we'll typically close out shows with this. And you remember like Stone Temple Pilots with Scott Weiland? He would grab the megaphone and stuff. I do something similar, but we do it with "Ain't No Rest for the Wicked," which I love Cage the Elephant. But that song, no matter how bad the show goes, if you finish on that one, it just gets everyone in the right mood. I don't know what it is, but it's the chaos, it's the energy, and it's one of my favorites to do out of all of them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I bet that's a lot of fun.
It is. It's a blast.
Well, I hope you don't mind. I did some research on werewolves, and
let's hear it.
Knew we
really
were
wanted
come back
to settle this. Yeah. I really wanted to just we end this podcast with definitively whether or not Travis Tritt is a werewolf. So a lot of these are very specifically tailored to you that you experienced growing up with your dad.
Fix your mane. I like that.
Yeah. This first of all, here, growing up when you were little, did your dad ever tuck you in at night and then howl at the moon just nonstop, like he would warm up at the Grand Ole Opry?
Not that I was aware of, but I'm sure there were incidents because I would hear it kind of outside in the distance. But we always were told we had like coyotes or a stray dog walking around, so you never know.
Good cover up.
That was a good cover.
Yeah. Did he ever disappear for like 3 days at a time sometimes? And maybe your mom was like, he's on tour. And it's like, why does he only go for
full moons?
Right
Absolutely. And as you're saying that, now it's starting to connect. And now I've got a lot of questions.
You've never seen him, yeah. If y'all ever played like, fetch or anything, was he like really good at going and getting the ball?
Incredibly. And competitive with it, but would never give it back. He was,
Big catch guy, not a big release.
Growl at you sometimes, trying to pull out of his mouth.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, Dad, you don't have to put the ball in your mouth.
Yeah. Any jewelry sometimes, if you notice, might have the consistency, or you've just seen the package that is in fact a flea collar that he's wearing at any time?
That is a good question. There's leather bracelets sometimes, so isn't it typically like on a leather collar or something? That would make sense.
You could maybe. I would. Yeah, he could fancy it up. I would think that'd be the best way to do it.
You conceal it a little bit.
Conceal it in leather.
Could be laced with pesticide.
That's
Yikes.
Whoa.
And I guess the only other thing that could definitively we could decide this is whether or not he's ever bitten the UPS driver.
Not UPS, but I think FedEx.
Oh, FedEx definitely has that.
Does that count? Is that the same?
No, if you're watching this and you've never bitten a FedEx driver, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah.
Personally, I like the taste of Amazon.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
You never know what you're going to get.
Different folks.
Yeah.
Amazon Prime Rib.
Yeah.
Hey, that was good. That was good.
That's why he's here. Those
all I do.
Those jokes right there. Oh, man.
Signed a hell of a contract just for a one-liner.
Is he definitely afraid of wearing silver jewelry?
Actually, yes. He's a big gold guy. Now it makes sense. Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Got to match them Grammys.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of silver records on his wall, that's for sure.
There you go.
Absolutely. Rightfully so, too.
More platinum.
More platinum.
Yeah, lots of those, I'm sure.
So back to your music career real quick. How did you learn how to write songs? Was it with your dad or did you kind of learn on your own?
Nah, it was just trial and error. Just you I don't know. I've been doing it in one shape or form since I was in middle school. You know, you listen to a bunch of artists that you like, and you try to start writing like them. I think that's kind of how it starts. But it became a version of storytelling where you just like you want to have fun, but you also want to make it. You want people to relate to something, so you can take something that's obviously very personal and things like heartache and falling in love and things that we've heard 1,000 times in songs, but it's such a universal concept that everyone understands it, and you just want to put it in a way that's it sounds like it's coming from you as opposed to like just cut and paste or an AI developed song. Like I can't stand how every song nowadays just basically sounds like it's coming from the same chatbot.
Just checklist songs.
It really does.
Yeah, because Wannabe kind of was like a typical every man here has been like, I want to do something different than my father, and you kind of harped on your father's shadow in that.
Yeah,
song
and I think it was also like the thing that all young men struggle with like, okay, you're in your dad's shadow and stuff, and then towards the older you get, there are moments in your life. Hopefully, if he was a good role model to you, where you're like, oh man, I have become my father, and like this is like it's the little things you do, whether it's your appearance or whether it's anything like that, like the way you act or the way you're motivated about things. So at the end, it's like a tip to the hat to that. But I wanted to have the wordplay in the beginning where it almost sounded like not negative, but I wanted it to grab people's attention enough for them to listen to it to begin with.
Because you kind of formed your way out of the shadow as the song progressed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly, and that's just once again, it's a very universal thing. And when I first was dropping the song, people were like, "Are you calling yourself that?" I'm like, "No, I'm trying to explain something that everyone feels because we all have that imposter syndrome at least once in our life,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so some form or another for sure.
Of course,
I think it's a great title alone. I really like that.
I appreciate it, man.
Is there in the songwriting process? I'm fascinated by because I can never in a million years do that. But is it like? Do you have some songs that are like halfway finished and then you're like, I'm not ready to finish this yet, and you just kind of put it back in the notebook and you're like, maybe one day I'll get back to it? Or is it pretty much like I'm writing a song, I'll finish it, and then we're going to record it? Or does some stuff just you put it on the back burner, you like it and you want it to be perfect, and so you don't feel like you're ready quite yet for it?
It's a hit or miss with some of them. Some of them can be written in 2-3 minutes, and then other ones, like you said, can be you might have a line or two that you like from it, and then it just kind of sits on the back burner, which is what I did with Wannabe. There was a line that I wrote. We were on the road, me and my guys, and I was sitting in the back of the van, and I was just typing on my phone, and I put neck deep, head above the water, I'm too short in the shadow of my father. But it was for a different song, but I liked the line. So when I came back and started writing it again with a producer named Brad Wagner out here in Nashville, once we had that line, it was pretty easy to start putting the pieces back together because I didn't know where it was supposed to go from there. But then he said something about Wannabe, and he wanted it to almost be a braggadocious song, like They Wanna Be Me. And I was like, no, flip that and make it more of the imposter syndrome. This is make it more of a real thing than like a braggadocious song.
Yeah, make it relatable. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So it kind of turned like that, but what you said earlier, it was just one of those lyrics that just sat on the back burner, and I didn't know what to do with it. And then as soon as we started writing, that line came back in, and then the rest of the song just fell into place within like 15 minutes.
Yeah. Nice. Man.
What's your favorite restaurant to eat at while you're on the road? Ooh. Not Waffle House.
I was going to say Pilot or Flying J, honestly. It's just...
Man, what is that restaurant?
You had Hunt's Brothers Pizzas.
Let me tell you something. Yeah, I've had more Hunt's Brothers breakfast pizzas than I care to count.
Let's go.
Be careful of those Hunt's Brother tornadoes, though. You don't mess around with
those. Don't touch those.
Don't touch that. Not if you're traveling.
If it's on a roller, I don't touch it.
Yeah.
No. That's a smart move.
Hot dogs.
Gas station hot dogs don't hit right.
Yeah. What is that? It's something skillet that's in, or used to be in the
Iron Skillet.
Iron Skillet.
Flying J.
Is that what you're talking about in the Iron Skillet?
I'm talking about whatever processed meats that's been sitting there for probably 3 years that they've taken out the expiration date with a Sharpie. Yeah. Especially what I'm living off of.
At least start going to the canned goods. Get yourself some Vienna sausages or something.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that my guitar player, he loves them damn things.
Oh gosh.
Stay away from that guy for sure.
No bus bathroom for you.
Yeah.
No. I'm like, dude, we're not going on the deer stand. We got to be sitting in here for about 6 hours before.
So the tour bus. How long have you been on the tour bus?
I'm not even in a tour bus right now. I'm in a minivan. Sometimes a van, sometimes a mini. Yeah, we're rucking it, but
it's a tour bus if you call it a tour bus. Same thing with engineer.
It's the soccer mom tour bus. They love it.
Yeah,
that's right.
So So right now, when you take that thing on the road, like what's the motto of the van here? The tour. I'm gonna call it tour bus. What's the if you had to slap a motto on the side of that thing that pretty much defines what life is like inside that soccer mom tour bus, what would it be?
Bring orange slices and Gatorade because the hangovers are real on those. Like you gotta be prepared. If we're gonna travel like a soccer mom, we gotta be packed up like one.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's a great call.
Yeah, it's very true.
Everyone needs a little Gatorade at some point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's your go-to Gatorade?
Honestly, I'd go with the blue flavor. Is that even a flavor?
Yeah, no one knows the flavors,
color,
man.
Yeah,
the color.
Color. Given the color was right.
What color?
The blue flavor.
Yeah,
I don't need
blue, red, orange. That's all I know.
Gatorade or Powerade could stop putting the actual flavor names on there, and nobody would notice.
No, I don't think I've ever said the word of what the actual flavor is one time.
No.
Hey, let me tell you something. I grabbed a green one time, and I thought it was green apple, and chugged it. And it was cucumber melon.
I've done the same thing.
Who's buying that?
I don't know, but it did this. It scared me. It's almost like when you drink water and it's Sprite, and it just like you're not expecting it. Yeah,
yeah, it's not right.
No, it wasn't. I'm glad we agree on that.
I kind of thought I had been poisoned, to be honest.
Yeah.
Somebody in Gatorade thought that was a good idea.
They got fired for sure.
So the concept of this show is Hoot'n and Holler'n, which is everybody brings something to the table about the subject at hand that they like, and then one thing that they dislike. And from that episode, this is almost a continuation of that '90s country episode, which we did music videos, right? Yeah,
right.
Was that all music videos? Just '90s country in general.
Yeah. No,
Eric brought in a specific genre of music videos, which is your dad's. I would actually, we're going to get to the bottom of that.
The trilogy of your dad in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is the best series.
Spanned it out over
a decade.
An entire decade.
Almost the entire decade.
Yeah. He stuck with it.
It was his avatar.
Yes.
Yes.
Does he still have that wheelchair?
Oh, gosh. Please.
God, I hope not.
That thing's sitting there dipped in platinum somewhere at that house.
I hope so.
Oh,
on the
my
wall
goodness.
with all the records, yes. Mounted.
Yeah.
I just remember him
hanging up like a Cracker Barrel.
I remember him telling. I remember him telling the stories about shooting those videos when I went and saw him at the Alabama Theater, and I'll never forget that.
Yeah, he had a blast doing it, and it's always cool hearing those stories. And I've actually seen some of the people that worked with him years and years ago, and a lot of them were movie special effects people and stuff like that. That would it was just cool to hear them tell the tale too of how monumental all of these, not just his, but all those '90s music videos were. Back when CMT was CMT, it was insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we joked about that a lot, but it really is top tier video of that time period, or all three of those videos.
Yeah.
The fact that there's telling a story through the three videos is just you never see that really. And it was pretty incredible,
especially in country music. I feel like they're music great, but sometimes they don't put a lot of effort into it. I mean, they go to the old let's do cuts of the tour as the music video way too often in country music.
Yeah.
Not Travis.
No, Travis got
no. He's like, we got a budget for this thing.
Movies.
We're shooting a video.
Oh, he's had a couple music videos I've seen where I'm like, there was one where I think he was like an old man and then a ghost. I'm like, are you M. Night Shyamalan? I'm like, why? But he loves it, man. He loves it. But I give props to anyone that just gets excited about doing something different. I wish a lot more people nowadays. Obviously, there's great artists out there that are making really off the wall kind of stuff. But I just wish there was a lot more of that storytelling in videos as well. Because I can't tell you the last time I've seen a music video, like an actual, and I've sat down and watched. You know what I mean? That used to be an event. That was an event.
I was gonna kind of go along that. Back then, you created fans from music videos for sure.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we would see the music videos way before you would hear them on the radio or anything like that. So they sold them. They really sold those videos for sure.
Yeah, and that was I'm to this day, like if I've got people hanging around and we're chilling in my room or whatever, and I've got like my TV on, I'll put on old VH1 or MTV and just have like the music videos going through, just because I love that. I missed that as a kid, walking in and just seeing music video after music video for all these artists. Some you've heard of, some you didn't. Like that was just cool to me.
It was a great time for having music videos around, and now you just gotta search them on YouTube and hope that they've made a video for it.
YouTube Vivo.
It'd be a lyric
Try
video.
to avoid the fan videos that people have made.
Yeah. They just default to we're just gonna throw a lyric video out there.
Lyric videos, the new hotness.
Yeah, I don't. And man, we have regressed so far when it comes to music videos. It's sad.
I hate to shoot myself in the foot, but literally 30 minutes before we started this, my manager sent me the video that I'm about to release, and it's a lyric video for Wannabe.
Okay, well, good. How dare you, Tristan? I feel like you have to do that first, but are you going to follow it up with a legit music video? Is that up to the label?
I'd love to. I've been working with a lot of YouTubers recently, like big YouTubers, and we've discussed going out to Texas and doing some really cool video shoots. So that's definitely something that's coming down the line. But for right now, with my budget, I was like, just slap together whatever you can. I don't care.
Yeah. Well, if you ever want to work with a medium-ish size YouTuber that has a good looking set here, and you want to come to Walker County, Alabama,
I would
no
love
one
that.
ever does. Come on down.
What would you want?
I will give you some. Yeah, listen, I got some places you can play at. That you'll come home with some stories.
No question.
For sure, there'll be more thrown at you than just some undergarments.
Oh man, I love playing out. I love playing out in in Alabama. But have you guys ever played or been to? I think it's called the Nick.
Absolutely.
I work right next to it.
Yeah.
I almost got taken out by a homeless man with nunchucks at that show.
That is on par for Birmingham.
That's Peter.
Yeah. He just
sure.
no shirt on, was just going to work on nunchucks, and I was looking at my phone, and thank God one of my guys was standing next to me and just pulled me back to the side, because that thing, I felt the wind go by my ears. I was like, oh, that was close.
The Nick is a wild, legendary place, and all types of music have played there. Bands and acts have played there.
I used to go to open mics there with one of the guys I used to work with, and I was always, every time I'd walk out, I'd be like, one, I need a shower.
Yeah.
Two, I'm never going back, even though I'd go back the next week.
Yeah, it is as advertised.
Yeah, you'll smell like cigarettes for about 3 weeks, but that that'll go away.
Makes me want to smoke one.
It keeps the werewolves away,
Yeah, exactly. You got to do what you got to do to keep them away.
Hey, you're telling me.
Well, maybe they'll get you some shows booked out here, man.
I would love that, man. And I'm always passing through most southern towns, so yeah, absolutely. If I'm ever near y'all give me a holler, and I'll come swing by.
We'll give you a hoot. Hollers are bad on this show.
Okay, deal. Give me a hoot.
Speaking of which, keeping that 90s country going, and to put you on the spot here, and you don't have to give us a holler, especially since, that might be a family friend, but hooting 90s country music, what stands out to you as, maybe the greatest 90s country song? What's a no-skip 90s country song to you? I always got to let it play out.
I mean, just because it's such a tearjerker, was Don't Take the Girl, that was 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Early. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was.
Yeah, that is. That was firmly in the middle 90s, actually, I think.
Mm-hmm. Let me go 93.
Yeah, that was I think that you're talking about storytelling. That's just one of those where it's hard to skip over that one. You got to pick when you're going to listen to it, because obviously if everyone's having a good time, you throw that one on.
I was about to say that.
I'm just over in the corner crying. Right. I got snot coming out of my nose like a 3-year-old.
You could destroy the vibe real quick. With
The beers get real sad.
I just imagine that you were on the van and you got this playlist going and you just got some upbeat stuff after another one, and then that comes on and somebody goes to press and you just slap their hand like,
no, you don't. We ain't doing that. We ain't doing that here.
That's good. Well, yeah, man. Really appreciate you coming on, setting the record straight, which is, I think we can definitively say, Maybe.
It's a maybe. It's a strong maybe. I'm leaning more on yes, but it is a maybe as of right now for legal purposes.
But yeah, true. Because he does get briefcase in one hand, he probably knows how to sue you.
And the werewolves have a tough lobby. You know, they got a real
for sure.
They got real lawyers, man.
Yep.
But I appreciate you coming on, and hopefully we get some new listeners out there for your music. If they are just hearing about you today, what's a great way for people to go find your music or
just basically all social medias. Tristan Tritt on everything. Just Tristan Tritt, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. And yeah, just keep yourself in the loop. But we've got new music coming out, new shows being announced, new all that stuff. So yeah, I can't thank you guys enough for having me on here.
Oh man, absolutely can't thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate you, dude.
Especially after the things we've said about your family. I'll give you the opportunity to do it. You don't have to do it. Did you want to holler about something in 90s country? We'll take it off the air. We'll take it later. We won't record it.
2 words: Garth Brooks.
I like it. I'm with you.
Yes.
Careful, he might kill you.
Yeah. I'm gonna be missing next week, so thanks for that.
That's Chad. Chad's the one that handles the dirty business.
Absolutely.
You gotta watch out for him. Or Chris, sorry.
Chris, yeah.
I'm just messing.
Chad Gaines.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, we appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, Tristan.
Take care.